We've been kind of working on finding opportunities around listings. You're probably going to have somewhere around 200 agent contacts that day. How are you going to deal with it?
Think of it like you're now essentially paying to create a marketing asset that's going to be used forever.
Demonstrating all the ways that we help people understand every ounce of value. The only thing bully offers have taught me so far is that it is evidence that the market is so excited they're terrified. I have to say that I've been doing this a long time and I was surprised too.
The result, a record-breaking sale at 133% of list price. It wasn't luck, it was strategy. The difference wasn't the house, it was how we positioned it in the market. We didn't sell a home, we sold a window of opportunity. You just laid out the whole process to show them just how much work gets put into it.
Hey there, and welcome to the Leads Are Shit, a real estate magazine podcast with Andrew Foliato, the owner of Real Estate Magazine and the founder of Just Sell Homes, a real estate marketing company so that realtors can just sell homes. My name is Taylor Hack. I am the team leader of Hack and Company, the highest rated and reviewed real estate team in the greater Edmonton area. And here we are talking about what we know best. Andrew once was a real estate agent and realized quickly that he's really good at acquiring people to work with, so much so that that should just be where he focuses. Meanwhile, myself, I'm like the conversations for cash guy. I can do it one on one on some, one on all. And I'm having fun in a pretty spicy market, but I have teammates across Canada and the US, or friends across Canada and the US, that I see as teammates because we're all playing in different areas. It's fun to talk to people that don't play in your own market because it feels like there's kind of less threats. And that's what we want to bring here. So if you're in the chat, then tell us who you are, where you're from. So that way everybody kind of understands that when they have the next person around them that talks about your area, that they can associate you. What's shaking, Andrew?
Not much. Got off a day of calls. It's been a good day with just a lot of Zoom. So here we are. We're good to
Yes,
go.
I've also been
Yeah.
on the Zooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to
And
have the right equipment for it. Yeah, it's been good. I got up. This is a new one for me. A buddy of mine messaged me. He sent me his Instagram story. He was like, I'm hiking at 5:45 a.m. You're coming. So 40-pound weighted vest.
really?
8,000 steps through the forest this morning at 5:45. The new way
Wow.
to start the day. Um,
Talk to me about the weighted vest. What's going on?
so I mean, he just kind of jokes that it's a requirement to join him. But yeah, no, it's literally just I can adjust it. So basically, it's got like these 4-pound sandbags
Mhm.
across the front and back, and you can take them out and in depending on how you're feeling. But yeah, you
Hmm.
just toss it on, and it just makes the hike a little bit harder.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
My joke to him is,
Trying to
I'm
do
already
more
carrying
steps.
40 more pounds than you. Um,
Mhm.
not good enough.
Yeah, well, that's
Man,
definitely a good way to get more out of it. I got to think about that.
yeah, it's an easy way. I started doing it during when I did 75 hard one time of like just walking to me doesn't count as a workout. But if I throw 40 pounds on my back, all right, that could be a workout now. So
Hmm.
we'll get there. Anyways, marketing.
All right.
Let's dive
So
in.
uh, over weeks, we talk about all kinds of different strategies we're working on. Some things we're starting new, and then we update you on things as they kind of go. And right now, we've been kind of working on finding opportunities around listings. So my team here in Edmonton has been doing a fantastic job of being able to sell the houses. In fact, our market's so hot that we're averaging, I think that this will change our average, our recent sale, but we are averaging at 12 offers per listing.
Yeah.
So you can see that in our market, inventory is the problem to solve. So if we want to do more, we have to control the inventory. That may not be the problem you're solving. In your market, there may be lots of inventory. And in that case, finding buyers that are ready to make deals, it's really valuable work. That's where you should tune your marketing and your sales conversion to. But yeah, we've been testing all the stuff that other markets have been using through pandemic and things have been going all right. We recently had 46 offers on one property.
It's not
It sold for
bad.
33% over list price.
It's pretty good. And What would be like the closest comparable in the area that you sold compared to?
Oh, we actually saw like evidence in that area was like 410.
Okay.
So we went into the market valuation. We said everybody else is going to go for 410. We understand the market. We have a launch process. We are going to target for more than the rest. We think we can make 420, 425 real, right?
No,
465.
not bad. Not
Hmm.
bad.
So
So,
this is part of
and
our testing to see whether or not more offers actually results in higher prices, not just time, not just percentage over list. And it is a
no,
ton of work. Okay. Like I think our purchase agreement is like 8 pages.
yeah,
So at like almost 50 offers, you're talking about 400 pages that you have to at least find the things in. Like there's just a few negotiation points in each.
yep,
You need to make sure it's all organized so that you can present it to your clients with any type of efficiency. And you're probably going to have somewhere around 200 agent contacts that day. How are you going to deal with it? You know? So I built a machine that does that because then I can advertise that I can out result everybody else. And that's what we're trying to work on.
yeah. So, I mean, I know what we want to talk about today is and how do you essentially promote that you did this,
Yeah. Well, what I
right?
want to do
Yeah,
is I want to go into the middle of that neighborhood, declare victory, demand that they deliver all the bagels and coffee in the land.
yeah.
But that's
The
what realtors
returning
normally do,
conqueror. Yeah,
right?
which
I'm
I
number
never do.
one. It's me.
Yeah.
There
So,
wasn't
I
even a
mean,
house here. I did it totally on my own.
the first like objection that we always look at when we're kind of building out marketing for this type of scenario, because obviously it's a very popular one, agents want to scream from the rooftops, is the first thing the majority of consumers think is, well, fuck you, you just underlisted the property. That's what you thought it was going to sell for,
Hmm.
right? Like just mark listed at market price and it would have sold. So you have to first get into that
And there's a whole bunch
angle.
you can do to straw
Yeah,
man that
yeah,
position.
yeah,
People constantly think, oh, you're just doing this so it's over quick. Like you're just going to do 3 days work and make bank.
yeah,
And it's like, that's not my experience. We had
yeah,
205 groups through that property. It looked
yeah.
like a nightclub at times.
It's a
It's
machine.
not easy to coordinate all that. We did definitely more than we would have done in amount of work
Yeah.
when you take a look at how dedicated you had to be to basically make it happen.
Yeah. And the way, like, the most effective messaging in this, and yours is perfect for this. So, like, you expected it to sell around 410.
Hmm.
And how I would word that essentially is how the clients got 55,000 more than they even thought they would. Because at the end of the day, that's like the real numbers, what people care about. The percentage for most people, like the majority of people in the world, if you tell them a percentage, they have a hard time in their head translating that to what a real dollar figure is.
That's why they do it. It's like
Yeah.
a legal requirement that if you're going to do this publicly, you have to use percentage of list price. You can't use actual cash.
Yeah. And so how I would market this is it's a variation on how our clients put $55,000 more in their pocket with our launch it, not list it approach. And because with you, I'd be leaning into the launch idea
Hmm.
because in a market like yours, like in a market where they're going to be on the market for 3 months, 6 months, launch it doesn't have the same impact. List it like you can kind of frame it like listing it is just like the easy, lazy thing to do, right? Like that's almost how you want to start position is like, okay,
Throughout
they're
the
just gonna
history
list
of real
it.
estate,
Yeah, they just
they've been
list it on a
listing it.
board. They write like they go up to
Yes.
this board where everything is, and they just add it to the list. We're
Hmm.
launching it to the top, right? Like that's kind of that approach we're taking here
We're
is
not here to take part. We're here to take over.
yeah. And so that's like how
Hmm.
we did this. How we and like the other number I'd play here with is the 205. The 205 groups through from
Hmm.
Thursday to Monday. And how I would do that is like framing it around how we got 205 buyers in 5 days to walk through a home. See the result. So
All
now
right.
it's a little bit of curiosity gap of I wonder if I watch this, what would 205 buyers in 5 days turn into,
Hmm.
right? Like, because it's still a big number that's real.
Okay, so and it's also where I can beat everybody else. So I
Yeah,
don't believe that there's other people that are getting more traffic than me. I want to try to promote that. If we were talking about 205, we divide that by 5, and now we have what, 41 groups a day?
yep,
So 41 and that's why I wanted to get this sense of like normally the showings are only 12 hours of showings, right?
roughly.
With 41 groups, you can't even do half-hour slots.
No, you need a
And
system
and so
and a
like
team.
sometimes during opening weekend there was a lineup at that house. And I don't think many people realize that.
Yeah, it's basically like a 4 day open house.
Yeah, well, yeah. Um, I didn't know how to capture it well, but this is the I want to I want to tell the story of showing the door off the front of a house. Like we
Yeah,
actually had damage to a storm door. So, but I'm not really able to turn this into things that make people call me.
yeah. So do you have coming up a listing you think will get a similar result?
Yes, we're 2 weeks away, and this is an exciting listing. So sometimes I'm sure other people may have been in my spot, but where a listing is isn't an acquisition area for me.
No.
So sometimes what you want to do is take that win and promote it to the area you want to work in.
Yeah.
And then the other situation is I have a listing that is in an area that we would want to list every house down the block on. So normally what we see is that every listing is going to get a budget to itself. And that is going to be what it takes to sell the house in a way that gives us a 5-star review and an excellent result.
Yeah.
However, that some listings also offer us acquisition opportunities. So then we allot acquisition budget. And now we're doing things beyond just selling the house. And I'm sure they look cool to the seller, but and they do build hype. Like it's not like it's wasted, but they're also going to improve our opportunities to do a few things. Find the buyer to this house, find the buyer that is just not a good fit for this house, so they need to go track down something else in the marketplace. And then also to find another listing in that same neighborhood. Like those are the 3 areas that we want to exert more effort to get better opportunities. And right now, where my focus is how do I get that next listing?
So for this listing you have coming up in a couple of weeks, you need to find a videography team. I don't know if whoever does your listings would be the right people or not. You would answer this, not me. What you want is a video team that has done story-based videos before. Because like what I'm envisioning for your next listing, this one coming up, is like a 20-minute documentary on the sale. So like you start them soon, and included in this is interviewing the homeowners. They're interviewing you, they're interviewing team members, they're getting shots of the madness of the showings, right? Like we want, and even if that means you have to like recreate the madness a bit with like people you know, just in case people don't want to be filmed, as long as it's accurate. But that's what like I would want to have an in-depth breakdown. That's like again, when we talk about a live listing presentation, show don't tell. Let's create this asset that is the launch process and what the result is. So, like, show the work you're doing to prep, show how you handle all these showings, show how you handle the offer, show the stress people are feeling and what you're doing to help them in there, and take them on it, and then show the result at the end. And because now what this also becomes is the perfect pre-listing package
Mm-hmm.
of the walkthrough video of how it got. And like, this is why you need a videographer who's used to doing a story
Mm-hmm.
because you want someone who can come in and like add a little tension in there that will get someone to watch because a 20-minute video needs tension in it, right? So like maybe that means at the beginning of the story you're setting stakes of they need to get this much to get here. Like this is what they're working towards. they have to get this. Not just anyone can do it, so they're calling you in.
Hmm.
You've now been brought in, you're bringing the launch process, you're showing the launch in motion. They got the price. There's the big finale of like, we got it. And then ideally, you have a little bit of a shot in the happy place they are now. But it's that like, think of it like you're now essentially paying to create a marketing asset that's going to be used forever.
Love it. So, for me, I need to see things very clearly. And so I would want to basically like build this out so that I could present it to somebody who's doing a videography in like those pieces.
Yeah.
And then I like the idea that you're building out like a essentially like a finished vision, but we can choose where we start. So we
Yeah.
could start by going through the motions of some of those things. So in maybe in this next listing that's coming a couple of weeks from now, I'm like, okay, here's the parts of my show I want to show. So you were talking about like the loading period. So during the loading period, we would want to talk more about maybe before we involve clients about our experience. And we're going to delay releasing all of this. We're not going to be releasing this live. So you just want to make sure to start building that photo roll of like, okay, it's listing launch week. This is what where our expectations are. This is what we've done to build into there. Right now, we're out knocking on doors. We're going to talk to some of the neighbors and keep building the buzz. And
Yeah.
then it's,
But you're showing then you knocking on doors. Like for me, a
yeah, you
key
have to be
scene
there.
here, a key scene of this would be like get everyone on your team in the office at a boardroom table and debate the best price to list it at as a group and film part of that of being like, okay, so here's the competition we're doing. All right, so we have to look at if this is the competition we have coming up on the market, here's the price we want to hit. All right, here's the price I think it is. And then you start kind of having that debate of, all right, what is that number based on this? And then you kind of come in as the big like big dog of like, all right, based on our experience. So let's look what we did in Mosaic where we got 205 groups through 2 weeks ago. Here's how we did that. We want to take that same approach here and get that type of result for them,
Hmm.
right? And you're showing the proof as you go through.
I want to build on that. So, like, imagine that it's Tony and I talking about where we're going to price the property and debating it back and forth like that. And then we kind of like are like, okay, let's give it the no like, I give it the nod, right?
Yeah,
But then we take it to our other teammates and they have a reaction to that.
yeah,
So then they're like, ooh, this is going to be spicy. I want the open house. That kind of thing,
yeah,
because they already know that this is going to be a launch like
yeah.
worth anticipating.
And I would
Then
also
we
show
talk to
the
Lanvy,
here's what we think it's going to sell for. Here's what we're going to list to get there. And then when you go above that, potentially, like that's where you get the really good
and
proof.
that's why the initial conversation with Tony is where we're going to load that up. But then the
Yeah,
reaction from the team is what affirms that it's
yeah,
going to be a really attractive offering.
yeah,
And then we would go to like the activities. So now our teammate Lanvy is going to be sending out email to our insider database that are getting advance notice.
yeah,
And we would and then we might talk to Jaya as she's shooting the property. And when we're there on video day, then it's me and Tony that are door knocking.
yeah. I'd get some shots of you doing selfies at like selfie videos at the
Yep.
Vit property too. Like you're showing all those little things.
And then almost like demonstrating all the ways that we help people understand every ounce of value.
Yeah,
And then some like almost like live shots from the open house. Like I definitely could do a video walking through a busy open house with people in behind me saying like, yeah, this is where we're at right now. It's been really busy so far this weekend. Then maybe back to our teammate Jaya, who's our listing coordinator, and she could be talking about showing traffic.
yeah,
And then we could go to offer day. So Lanvi and Tony are going to be loading offers into our system. We review like the however many offers there are. And then in the end, we talk about it compared to expectations, and then we talk about it compared to statistics for the neighborhood.
yeah,
So that's something that I can get behind is where I can do a lot of it self-shot in the beginning. We can roll it a few times, and then we can be like, all right, here's something I can show to a videography team to be like, I need the better version of this. I
Yeah, I
want it
wouldn't
to
even
feel like,
self-ship. I would get them in from the start.
and I
Like,
appreciate that. That's something
yeah,
where you and I are going to definitely collaborate back and forth.
yeah,
But until I can see some of the moving pieces, I'm like a measure twice, cut once kind of guy.
yeah. But this is one where you and I would even say this about myself as someone who obviously knows marketing very well, and I would have to remind myself of this multiple times during the process. We hire an expert videographer and get the fuck out of their way, right? Like this is what they do.
Hmm.
Like this is like I have this challenge
I
too,
would
right? Like
totally
I
agree
just
to that.
hired
I
a
just can't agree to
photographer.
the timeline of in this next 2 weeks. Like I'm already
Yeah,
booked
that might be
to
tough,
find
but
somebody, make it all happen on top of launching this listing,
I
and then
bet.
suddenly introduce it to people that are already signed to us.
But here's a thing where you might be able to do it as a test. You might like you'd be surprised. Like call up a couple like who would be good for something like this to be like wedding videographers, right? And again, I don't know who your current person is if they would be good at this. Then for like a future one, start searching for the right person locally.
Hmm.
Because no matter what, like what's the max amount of time you're gonna be able to give these people to prep for it?
Couple weeks, maybe a month.
So you need to kind of already have some sourcing going and have probably three or four
Well, that's what
options.
I'm saying. You're
Yeah,
introducing the idea right now. And so what I'm going to do is on this $700 list or this $700,000 listing that we have coming up, we are going to do some of it as like our own prep,
yeah,
right? Because we're going to have to be in these videos in the future and we want to basically like almost like block them out. So there's just some practice that I believe would achieve a better result.
yeah,
And but I totally agree with you. Like in the end, we're
yeah,
going to execute somebody else's vision. We want the person behind the lens to make the choice.
yeah. But I would still at least like tomorrow, today, make a couple calls to a few videographers and just be like, this is something I want to try. Like you'd have to start pretty soon. Is that something you could do? And maybe this is a version you don't release. And it ends
Hmm.
up as purely a B-roll type of thing. And
Okay.
you're just using the assets. Because like that's really what you're doing is you're creating these marketing assets. And maybe this first one, it turns out terribly and you learn something great. And like, but that's what we want to have is basically like create as many of these as you can. And
Hmm.
that's where I'd really be focused. So like, yeah, again, this one might, and maybe you're just going to try and use the guy who does like the listing videos already.
We do them in-house.
Okay, then yeah, maybe you can try and do them in-house. But I would get someone with
No,
like
I
an
agree with
eye.
you. We'd be
Yeah,
looking at something like I run a factory, right? Like I know what sells houses. We do exactly that. It happens over and over again. Our results are very clear and predictable. But because I run a factory, we're also super busy. So to start a new initiative, like for me,
yeah,
I'm just like, see you next business planning. But
yeah,
but I can do pieces of this. I just can't do it that fast.
yeah.
Whereas some other
But
people who are like maybe more nimble because they don't do as much volume, but
but
this
this
would
is
actually get in the
where
way of selling houses for me.
you're thinking that you have to do a lot here. You have to say, I want you to film it. Then they're just following you around. You're just doing your job at that point. Then you're
It
letting
sounds like the
them do the same.
videography that you know is amazing because the ones I
Yeah.
know I would have to give a lot of
Well,
coaching
this is
to.
what I'm saying. Like most people who are filming like listing videos aren't the right people for this.
No, but even the
Yeah.
other people, they just don't know real estate enough to even know what the scenes would be. Like we would all have to work that out together.
So that would be one again where I would be saying just let them follow on everything.
I totally agree with this plan,
Yeah.
but I think the timeline is
Yeah.
maybe
No,
based on
it's
more on
tight.
what you see in your calendar than what I see in
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I mean, how I would actually do it just randomly. I know a couple people in the our area in the GTA, but I would actually try and convince my aunt. She used to shoot birth story for TLC.
wow.
Now she's a teacher, but I'd be like,
Yep.
come out of retirement for me. Come out of
Oh,
retirement.
cool. Or even
Yeah.
just to frame it up and possibly introduce
Yeah.
you to people.
Yeah. We see we have a question here from Anne. Are you always listing with expectation of achieving over asking? What do you tell the client when they receive an offer at asking with limited conditions and quick closings? And where are you, just for a reference? Location.
So, I'm always listing with the expectation of getting more than other people get. So like for me, the reason that people should hire me is because I impact their outcome. I'm not here to just I'm here like there's some agents that their promise is to get you market value. For me, I really like look at it like I'm in it to win it. So in some cases, that means that you should play differently. So right now in my market, if you're listing in luxury, you need to be careful. You need to use pricing strategies that are like price anchoring, where you set an aspirational price and then you move through during a timeline where you can see the ideal buyer appearing regularly. Like for luxury, they tend to be very season specific. There's a few things in there. But then when I take a look at where my market is super hot, like when it is a massive seller advantage, like you shouldn't be having multiple offer scenarios. You should having hostage situations. Like the when I can see that everything in that neighborhood sells, 100% sells, that the average agent is taking 30 days to solve the puzzle, and the best of them are getting like in this neighborhood, it was built in the 1980s, and the highest achievement there was something like 11 or 12% over list price. And so I could see that there's fish everywhere. And if I was fishing, every time I would drop my line into the water, I would have another fish. So that means I'm using the wrong device. And instead of using a rod, I should be using a net. So that's what positioning for multiple offers it does. And then when you're talking about what do you tell a client when they receive an offer at asking with limited conditions and a quick closing? So we talk about this in advance. When we're using price as a marketing tool, the first thing that we understand is that we're not legally obligated to accept that. Somebody could give us exactly what we're asking on the MLS listing and we can still decline, or we can say not now, which means that we're holding for other opportunity. So that's one of the key things to understand in positioning this. And then there's going to be people that write these things called bully offers, where they're saying, hey, I know you're waiting until Monday, but it's Friday night. And we have an offer that's due by 9, and we want you to take it to your client right now. So for me, I'll position this in my strategy meeting with my client. They've already given me instructions to wait until Monday, and often we do have a number. We have a special number that if it's above that number, we have a safe word. Sometimes it's pineapples, sometimes it's taco. It does tend to be food. But
Mine's
at
nacho.
that point, it's funny as all get out because I'll send my client a text and it'll just have an emoji of a taco. And they'll be like, what's happening? But I want you to know that most of the bully offers I've seen are exactly as you described. They're uninformed. They're at list price when list price is obviously there as a marketing tool. They're like these little bullies that couldn't take the lunch money away from children. And they're uninformed. I saw a decent one last weekend, but negotiations are based on give me what I want or I'm leaving. An agreement is what a win is. And so if you don't have a very good position, you're not in a position to leave. And what I know is when I get a bully offer on Saturday night, it's very unlikely that those people are not going to like that house on Monday. And on top of that, I know my market so well that I know what the alternatives look like. And if there's no other alternatives, then we're absolutely going to hold because they are going to come in on Monday. And for all the times that I've done this, and I'm talking a lot, like when I launch 5 listings on the same weekend, I'll get a dozen bully offers. And on all the times that we've declined them, every single frickin' one has shown up on offer day. And everyone has shown up at a higher price. The only thing bully offers have taught me so far is that it is evidence that the market is so excited they're terrified. And that's what I mean when I say multiple offer scenarios to hostage situations.
Yeah, I've always thought of testing this when you're doing an offer date. Let's put a
Hmm.
buy now price,
I love where your head's at.
right? Like just be like, hey, we're listing this at 410 or 395 or whatever it is. We are expecting it to sell for like 410, 420, 430, 440, 450. Buy now, press 550. Like basically put like hey, listen, we're going to offer date, we're going to see what happens. To convince my sellers not to do this, which has consistently, like our last clients got 55,000 more than they even thought they would, you got to give us 100,000 more if
Hmm.
you want us to not let you go to competition.
Hmm,
Like, here's the buy now price. Like on that property there where it sold for 425, my buy now price, I would have put it at five. I said, do you want, if they call you, but like, do you accept bully offers? Like, our buy now price is five.
hmm.
Otherwise, you can get in line with everyone else.
That's so funny.
Right. Like, just,
I just I'm wondering what the agent conversations would be like because the agent conversations that I have, um, they're often pretty funny already.
yeah,
Like, I'll send how many offers we got, and most of them are like, "What did you just say?" Like most agents in my market that have been doing business for 30 years have only seen 13 offers at once, maybe 14.
yeah,
And when I tell somebody like, "Yeah, we had three multiple offers this weekend," or four of them actually, two of them were 13, one was 27 offers, and one was 46. And I actually fielded over 80 offers in one night. They'd be like, "How the hell did you do that?" I'd be like, "That's actually what I do. I build things that do this."
we launch it. We don't list it.
Yeah, totally. Instead of making an airfield, I made a launch pad. It's just
Yeah.
different.
Are you concerned about appraisal value at that point?
No, actually, I have to say that I constantly talk to lenders. And here in Edmonton, Alberta, there is nobody that has seen a no from an appraiser forever. Like um, it's surprising, but because Calgary is a leading indicator for us, because everywhere else set a precedent during pandemic for how elastic markets are and how they can move, and because our market is half the price on average of those larger markets, I used to be worried. Like I did 33% over list price. I had another one that was 38% over list price. Like these are massively over list price. And they're also over all of the comparables. So an appraisal should look like they're doing mental gymnastics to prove that this works.
No. Now, you got to
Hmm.
also still think about when you're talking about this more publicly is what you expected to get versus the list price as the tool to combat that objection of, okay, but he just listed it low. Like that, like list price, sale to list price doesn't mean anything if you're
Yeah,
listing it low on
we are
purpose.
actually looking to exceed evidence. Like that one,
Yeah.
evidence was 410, listed at 350, sold for 465. If you think you could have seen that coming in that neighborhood, well, try to follow that. I have to say that I've been doing this a long time and I was surprised too. And I think that that one was just specifically because it got so deep that it was like an ego play to win.
Yeah. So here, I took what we've talked about here, and I've, by the way, built a case study builder in ChatGPT. Um,
Let's go.
you want to hear your case study as a marketing thing for how we build
Okay.
it?
Okay.
How Homan K. Mosaic shattered market expectations by 55,000. 55,000. This is now the heading. The challenge, a great house in an overlooked neighborhood. Our sellers came to us with a solid home in Camisaic, a quiet, modest area not known for runaway sales. Recent comparable homes were topping out at 410. The house was great, but market history had already spoken. The sellers were realistic. Their goal, get fair market value and move on without headaches. But we saw something else. And the insight, price isn't just a number, it's a marketing tool. Most agents think of listing price as a ceiling. We see it as a trigger. Rather than list at market value and hope to hold firm, we reverse engineered a launch designed to ignite buyer competition. We priced the home at fit 350, well below market comparables. This wasn't discounting the home, it was positioning it as a can't miss opportunity to draw maximum attention. Think of it like dropping the velvet rope at a nightclub. The line signals value before anyone even gets inside. And then we didn't just list it, we launched it. From Thursday to Monday, we ran a concentrated 5-day window that combined urgency, access, and buzz. The results, 205 buyer groups came through. It's over 60 showings a day at an average of one every 10 minutes. Yes, people were literally lining up. While others rely on open houses and passive exposure, we orchestrated a funnel that drove qualified chaos. The result, a record-breaking sale at 133% of list price. By Monday night, we had multiple offers and a wave of buyer urgency. Final sale price 465. That's 55,000 over market expectations and 33% over list price. So we're hitting both there. That sale now stands as the highest price ever achieved for a home in this pocket. Why it worked, it wasn't luck, it was strategy. The difference wasn't the house, it was how we positioned it in the market. We didn't sell a home, we sold a window of opportunity. You don't need a trendy postal code to get a record result. You need a strategy built on the right pricing psychology, a launch system that drives demand, marketing that positions your home as irresistible. If you're planning to sell, even in a quiet neighborhood, you don't need luck. You need the right plan. I want to talk about how we'd position your home. Let's chat.
So now, when you release this as marketing, is this a video? Is this a video with a
It is.
blog? Is it just a
Yes.
blog?
Oh, like this is
So you just
everywhere you
fraction it
can
up and
do
put it
it.
everywhere.
Yeah, like this is what we call like the tent pole. Now you're going to put this in every medium you can, right?
Hmm.
So like, yes, film a video of it. Yes, do a blog post of it. Throw it into a PDF that you're going to send to people. Like, um, try and put that into like Google My Business. Go put it up as a story, like right, like as an update on there. Throw it as an Instagram carousel that they can read through. Create a reel that has like an AI voice reading it over. Like, try a million different things, blast it out there, and see which one gets the most traction. Um, the key here, this is where a lot of people I think don't look the right way at marketing content, is like, okay, I'm going to create this piece of content for here. No, it's I'm going to create a great piece of content and then figure out how to adapt that to everywhere I put content.
Hmm.
So first you create that really good thing, and then you look at the different ways to get it done. And
Hmm.
some of that can be based on your time available and things like that. Like one we're actually going to test with REM soon. We're just trying to find the right people to do it. Is we want to play around with the new Google VO3 video editor.
Okay.
And we're going to see if we feed a REM article into it, what videos will it create as a reel for us? Like one of my visions would be like, we had an article recently about like modular homes. Well, what if the actual background of the video talking about it was a home just coming together like Lego pieces?
Hmm.
Just like that visually catching piece. Like pre Google VO3, it would either look terrible or been way too expensive to create. Now, we like $10,
Interesting.
right? So it's like, where can we take advantage of the different tools that are out there? Like they actually just, it's going viral right now on Twitter, so it might not have made it to the other platforms yet. But there's like in the NBA finals, there's a commercial that's 100% AI created.
Hmm.
And it took one guy 2 days. And it's playing during the NBA finals now.
Wow.
Like their price is coming down on these
So this is
fast.
going to be a
And
huge game changer.
yeah, because like the Google VO3, that subscribe and last time I checked, it wasn't available for us in Canada yet. So that's why I haven't tried it yet, because I'm trying to sign someone in the US to do it for me. Um, is the quality sometimes you can't tell isn't real. Like there's a account that's going viral right now. It only has 4 videos posted and is now over 10 million views. And it's a guy who used it and just created short selfie videos from a stormtrooper going
Oh, I've
about his
seen
life.
these. I've
Yeah,
seen these.
but it's like that's
You know
just
what the
one
other
guy.
ones that are going
Props.
viral are? Is the
The,
ones that are Bigfoot.
the Bigfoot, and then the other one is the gorilla fighting 100 men.
Hilarious. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, so it's a selfie video of him being like, "These guys are nuts," and then one he's like, "I gave them beer, and it actually made them angrier." And he's running away, and it's actually really well done. But it's like, and then like one you see him hiding after like the second wave of 100 is done, and he's beat them all, and then he can like hear a third one. He's hiding. He goes, "Chat, I think we're cooked." That's the group. That was pretty well done. We have a question here from Ryan. When you're saying using price as a marketing tool, are you pricing it like 5% lower than you think market value is?
So I'm trying to get several pre-approval pools. So it's different at different price points. But like, let's say that I can see that the market is valuing this one at 410. That's because it's going to sell to somebody in the 400 pre-approval pool, and they can pay a little bit more than what they're pre-approved for in most cases, because almost all pre-approvals are in $25,000 increments, and that is mathematically and fucking possible. And what I mean is that our income and our debts are never in even numbers. So for it to ever come out to $25,000 increments or even to an even thousand is odd. And I've done like $150 million in mortgages myself. And that's where I became aware of this. Like you can see that realtor.ca in many common price points that are lower price points operates in $25,000 increments. That's an A/B tested number. And then you can see as you move up into like the six, seven, $800 million range, it starts to move in $50,000 increments or then into $100,000 increments. So by taking a look at saying like, okay, I want all of the buyers that are going to be offered that are looking for houses around 400,000, and I want all the buyers that are looking at houses at 375, and I want all the buyers that are looking at houses at 350 to all think the same thing. Man, I haven't seen anything else that looked this good. And then they're going to come in and but careful what you wish for, man. The reason that I'm so comfortable talking about this on the outside is the machine you need to have on the inside. I don't believe many other people can build. So it's going to be more
Yeah.
available to more people as technology comes
A
along here. But
solo agent with 205 showings, that is tough.
yeah, but as a team, we
Yeah.
booked 382 showings this week, like last 2 weekends ago. And in one day, I received 82 offers. I did a 46 offer multiple offer and a 13 offer multiple offer and a 27 offer multiple offer back to back. So that's like I get to talk about this on the outside because the machine can do this on the inside. And if you want the light version of this, don't go that deep. You can still get results. I'm doing this so I can get advertising numbers and so I can continue being in demand as a listing agent, but not everybody wants this. Like uh just a word of caution.
Yeah. And like it's if you miss big, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
if
pretty tough to
you
explain if you miss.
yeah, like that's actually was the really interesting thing to watch with the Toronto market when the market
Hmm.
turned is how long people kept holding out for I'm still gonna set an offer date and it would come and go.
That's actually a good strategy.
Yeah.
So remember Andy that we had on here?
Yep.
He'll continue setting offer dates even in a diminishing market. And he
Yep.
also uses price in way more dynamic ways than I've seen other agents, raising price and lowering price. Um, he really can see the market more clearly than most people, but his market is also like a single driver. He's in Silicon Valley. So when Apple goes up a certain point in their stock, he knows that there's a number of millionaires around him that just showed up yesterday.
Yeah.
So they're going to take action in more predictable ways. So just know that you have like the depth of your market that you need to understand to do this like with certainty can be a bit of a challenge. But if you do believe that you can see your market this clearly, if you have deep, deep market knowledge, swing for the fences.
Yeah, like now I'm curious when you put it that way. Would you ever look at changing the price based on price of oil for Alberta?
It depends if that became a driver.
Yeah.
So the price of oil can go up without immigration changing. So for me, I see immigration is the number. Migration is the leading driver, and they move here for either oil or now affordability. And you know what I got my fingers crossed for? Like all of them and my toes is what if we get this far on affordability and then oil goes up? Like BC and Ontario are already moving here. Could you imagine if we got Newfoundland again? Whoo, Dinah.
Yeah, but the newfies only come for like 6 months and they go back to fish.
We'll take them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like we need them.
Those
Those are
are
the tenants in our
back
market,
when I
man.
worked in Calgary in construction. That was my favorite thing is when the newfies would return and then they'd go back again.
Yep.
Like they because those like few months they're there, they're so much fun. But like that last month, they're like the excitement in their voice, the passion for fishing. It
Yeah,
was
when
always
it's
such a
time to go
fun,
home.
yeah, because they can see the day like there's and Newfie sayings where they're very colorful and like the talk about being able to taste the salt water already and like it's pretty entertaining to be with them on those job sites.
Yeah. And you
Uh,
can't find one in Edmonton now. It's been so
yeah,
long since oil has been up, like they've all gone home.
yeah, yeah. When we were
So
there, they were in droves.
so we're talking about picking up other listings near a listing that you just sold, how to celebrate it without losing the moment. And losing the moment would be like, I'm number one, I'm the best, right? We might feel that way. but sometimes it is a situation where people don't receive it well that way.
No.
The great positioning for this is often story brand, where you make the seller the hero of their story.
Yep.
But then you were the person that said, like, hey, listen, so if we're telling this story as a case study, you guys make the great house, and kind of if you build it, they will come. And
Yeah,
I'm
and you
just
want
going to
to
tweak these things.
tease it a little bit with this kind of what you're one of the like ideas you're trying to plant in people to get them to read it is like, see how we did this. You don't say it out loud, but essentially what you're implying is, so maybe you can do it yourself.
Hmm.
And then they read it, they're like, okay, I just need to hire him. Like we did this for a client in Toronto back, this is now probably dating back to 2017, I think it was. Sold a penthouse in Toronto, in this one very specific building, and they set the price per square foot record. And so, and actually, how they ended up selling it is they just went to every agent who listed or bought a property in that building in the last year and called them all up and just said, "Hey, I'm listing the pen." Or no, sorry, he wasn't listing the person. He was listing as like three floors below the penthouse. Um, and he just called everyone that had either list or bought in the last year. And one of those people ended up having another buyer and set the record. And the highest price per square foot ever. So we created an article that was how we set the price per square foot record at this building. And then this was back when you could really hyper target Facebook ads with no housing category restrictions. We ran for 200 bucks only to that building to make sure everyone in the building saw it.
Everybody would have known. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
then sure enough, like, and because it was downtown Toronto, the streets around it, you had enough traffic that other people would see it. And you started getting people commenting, being like, you're ruining the market, you're ruining real estate. Like the reason no real Torontonians can afford is because of you, that type of stuff.
Hmm.
And he would respond to every single one defending the price and defending the
Yeah,
whole
and you were
thing.
saying that
And
that defense was notable.
the penthouse owner saw it, called him up. He got the penthouse listing because of that one.
Wow.
And it was just literally like, here's exactly what it did. But like even laid out in the case study of like, yeah, one of the things I did is I looked up every agent that had activity in the last 12 months in that building, and I called them up because it's not uncommon that there's some overflow.
Hmm.
But he made sure to put in like I also looked at the buy side because like what some people might do is try and like look up themselves who were the listing agents in the past, but then he actually looked at the buy side too, which they'd probably have no way of ever checking themselves. And they're like, I need someone with that data. I need someone who can do that.
Hmm.
And he just laid out the whole process to show them just how much work gets put into it. And they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. I'm just gonna hire you, which is what you're trying to get across.
And don't feel threatened by that because there's so many people that don't want to even do a fraction of what you actually do. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to do this on top of all the other things that they're doing in their life, and there would be like a learning curve to doing any of this.
Yeah.
So you can lay out those steps and talk your way through it, and then they're going to realize that there's more to it than they thought, and that's when they're going to be like, "Oh, I would only make it to like step 2.5.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to need some help, so I might as well just get help out of the gate."
Yeah, and then each time you're going to make your process a little bit better. So even if they copied what you did 5 sales ago, who cares? Yours is better now.
That's what I
Like,
liked about there was a jujitsu like an amazing jujitsu practitioner, and he used to do all of his videos on um YouTube when he was like number one in the world. His name is Marcelo Garcia. And everybody would ask him, like, aren't you worried that somebody's going to learn your game? And he says, well, then it's not my game. Like, if you can beat me at my own game, even though you're learning it from me secondhand, my game is not developing enough.
yeah,
It's not improving. And so if you can mimic me better than I can do it myself, then I've got bigger problems than that.
yeah. Well, it's like the whole marketing saying of, how's it worded? It's like related to competition, or it's like if they're always copying you, they're always a step behind.
Totally. And if they're always
Like,
comparing themselves to you.
Yeah.
Everybody says like, oh, this is the next McDonald's, this is the next Walmart, this is the next Amazon,
Yeah.
whatever the incumbent is. That's how you know you're the incumbent.
No.
You become the benchmark. And that's the other advertising that I want to run, just being that we're so highly rated and reviewed, is like we should be the benchmark. You should interview multiple agents and just make sure one of those three is us. And if we can
Yeah.
do that, because I feel as though I'd do better if I get to those kitchen tables. I just need them to
Yeah.
interview more than one person.
Yeah. I always also think of like, what's the boldest claim we could make that's still realistic to make that call happen? Well, like, let's say hypothetically, you could just throw out all nuance context for a second. If you just said something like, invite me to the table, if after that interview you don't think I'm the best person for the job, I'll sell your house for free. Right? Like, yes, there's other things in there that you wouldn't want to actually make that specific claim.
Yeah, I understand. You're starting with an extreme.
But what would that offer could be of just to get you to the table, right?
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, if we can't sell your house, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
That's like that is the table opener in real estate.
But if you want to be just invited to more things, like what is a type of just
I'm
simple
wondering.
offer?
So, so I see those offers and sometimes the side door,
Yeah.
and like that's where I want to introduce like what happens if your listing agent was just the friendliest person at your barbecue.
No.
Those types of things. But I see how direct you are, and you're just saying like, hmm, if we can't sell it, we'll buy it. Would be one way. We'll work for free would be another one. Like just an offer people would be stupid not to accept.
Yeah, like it's the Godfather offer idea of what's an offer
Hmm.
they couldn't refuse to call you in that
Hmm.
still fits within your branding and your positioning. Because that's the key is a lot of people will try offers, but it's like they're just trying it, but it doesn't fit them. It doesn't fit their brand. It doesn't work with what they do. Like that's why like just sell homes, we never really did guarantees.
Hmm.
Because like most guarantees are built around the idea of you're never going to be able to collect on it, right?
And
Like,
that's like the idea behind a guarantee is it's not about collecting on the guarantee. It's about
yeah,
someone saying, want to bet?
yeah,
You think you're that good? You want to bet? Why aren't you betting? And it's like, well, I already bet
yeah,
with my commission, but
yeah,
I realize there's a lot of people that would be interested in your house. So what I wonder is like, what could I bet?
no,
If we can't sell your house, like if you could make it easy to understand um, comparables, like comparables are arguable. That's why there's like problems with its estimate. You couldn't say the highest price per square foot because there could be a house with higher condition.
yeah.
But
Like
how do you
there's
create the benchmark
yeah, that's what
or
I'm
the
thinking in my
measuring?
head of like what is the and that's why it's tough to do something like if you don't think I can do what I'm saying or here's the number.
Oh, what if you did it this way? So if I ran that marketing and said, if we can't have you an offer in 6 days, then I don't know what we'll do. We'll give you a Ninja Creamy. I have no idea, but it would be something
That
like that.
was like the your home sold or I'll buy it. For a long time, a lot of those people also did guaranteed offer in 24 hours.
Okay, so we could do guaranteed offer in 5 days with some type of backup. But then when I go to meet with people, I could say, well, if you agree to this strategy, absolutely, we will guarantee an offer within 5 days. Like
Yeah.
that would be the asterisk, right?
And you could even in your market say multiple offers because you have to position it into the like almost create like a multiple offer engineering system like program.
I already have it.
Yeah, but now we just give it a name
Okay.
and say here is the program
Launch
name.
codes.
Yeah, like here's the listing launch program.
Mhm.
And let us show you the listing launch program. If you don't think we can get more than the other people interviewing, I'll give you $100 and walk away.
Oh, what if we did it this way? If the listing launch program If the Hack and Co listing launch doesn't achieve multiple offers in 5 days, whatever
I'll
the deal
I'll
is.
write you a check for $500 and you can hire the second place person.
There you go.
You can hire second best
Oh,
then.
you're out of your, yeah, you could be out of your listing agreement at no cost.
Yeah. No, no, you'll pay them to get
Or
out of
I'll
your
pay
listing.
them. Sure,
Pay
I'll pay
them
them.
for the inconvenience of going through your listing launch program.
Okay, deal. That's pretty interesting. So I'd have to get my brokerage to agree to that, but I
Yes.
definitely have a process that could make that bold statement.
Yeah. Because like if you price the right way, and then what it also does is it is like, no, no, if you like we're going through my process, you have to agree to everything I say, right? Like
Hmm.
it's that
And I'd have to put like there'd have to be two ways you would protect yourself. So one, you get to choose the process because you can't do multiple offers under any conditions. And only maybe only certain neighborhoods apply or only certain neighborhoods
yeah.
are like eligible.
And that could be like check if your house is eligible
Oh, nice. I like that as a lead in.
for the listing launch program.
Mm-hmm. So then we could have like a colored map or something like that.
So what if we went, here's another way to approach it is like um not every house can get multiple offers. Or because you're almost going to frame it as we've
Like a
built some
challenge.
in-depth systems to do like last week we had 205 showings on one of our listings. We had five. We can only take this many listings at a time to achieve the results we want to achieve for our clients. Apply to be one of them.
Hmm.
So it's basically you're saying like the listing launch program, because it's so in depth,
I like
you're
it because
only,
then if you could come on, because like right now we always the one thing that we've committed to be able to run in this launch program is for more lead time.
yeah,
So essentially, when somebody signs with us this week, we're going to do like photos this week, and then they're coming to the market the week following, right? So we could already say that like next week is sold out,
yeah,
and the week afterwards is coming into the long weekend, and so we're actually scheduling on the other side of that right now.
yeah. And then you'd be like, this address, listing launch program, list price, expected sale price, final sale price. And you
Mm-hmm.
just, here's one, here's two, here's three, four, here's five, here's what they all are. Apply to be the next one.
You got it. Hmm. Pretty
Interesting.
spiffy. So we're going to keep building this out, and you can see how we talk about it, where we're kind of modeling it after my business, but that's only because you haven't taken over this podcast. And what I mean by that is you could come in the chat. We're going to close this down here in just a couple of minutes. And then afterwards, if you wanted to talk in a way that was less public, you can actually do that and we can get that set up. But if you're listening to this in some future time, just know that on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Mountain Standard and 11 a.m. Pacific, you can come in, hang out, share your thoughts, and get information because we're modeling it after my business, but that doesn't mean we don't have opinions about yours.
Yeah. And if you want to catch a nice day fade while you're watching, we're not opposed to it.
David?
Business drunk? That Ontario thing?
Yeah, in Alberta, it's expected. I mean, no.
Yeah, I'm always a little drunk.
Yeah, yeah. Blue collar
Yeah.
workers here.
All right.
Happy hours any hour.
We're going to turn off the recording next week, though. You're going to be here live. We're bringing in Mark Ferris. So for reference on Mark, then I'll tailor face. We both talked to him. We both think he's brilliant. At his peak, his team was doing 1,700 deals a year. Even now, with the market being down, they're still over 1,000. And when you talk to him, you know it's not an accident. Like he's smart, he's systemized, and he knows what it takes.
You know those
I'm always
people who
excited.
basically spend their time figuring it out
Yeah,
and then they execute really well? Well, this is what it takes to get into like that realm where you're over 15 units, 1,500 units a year, and then you're doing it from an exotic location.
yeah.
Like Mark has
It's
it handled. And
impressive.
for those
Yeah.
people that are business builders like myself, I find it very interesting. He recommended a book to me. The book is Buy Back Your Time. And
And
he
this
also
one
is
is what he
huge into
recommended to me.
scaling up.
Yeah. So he recommended this to me. And I think on that call with him is I recommended to him buy back your time.
Oh, well, now I got Buy Back Your Time.
Yeah.
And so now I've got to recommend you. No.
What? What? I actually
Oh.
recommended this book earlier today to people.
Hmm.
If you've seen this one before.
Which one's that?
Obviously
Obviously
Awesome
awesome. That's
by
pretty good.
April Dunn. So the one that I liked about this was when this was a JSH thing we learned. Because it's talking about like who's your competition. So
Hmm.
analyze, like call up the people who didn't buy from you on your sales calls and ask them what they bought. And that's how you find out, obviously, who your main competition is. What we found out, and it does talk about it in the book, is majority of people who didn't buy our ad management stuff didn't buy anything. So our
Hmm.
competition wasn't someone else or another company, it was inaction. So we had to change. So all we had to do was convince people they needed it, not that it was us over them. Because once
But
they
you
decided
could
they wanted to, they
understand
could,
the assignment better.
yeah,
Well, that's a great thought to close on. He's
yeah.
Andrew Foliato. I'm Taylor Hack, and this is the end of the public one, but other people stick around.